This is Kelso Surgeon. Thank you again for joining us for another edition of Football Handicapping 101, the NFL version for this weekend. I have a big day planned for Sunday. It's topped off by another 50-unit NFL game of the week. I got the job done last week with the Detroit Lions over Washington, made me 6-2 in these games this season. I intend to make it 7-2 at the end of the day. My 50-unit NFL game of the week will be available on this site and toll free at 1-800-755-2255, free to personal best club members, $50 to everybody else. Before we get into a few handicapping hints for the day, I want to just address the issue of coaches. You know, my good friend John Unitas once told me in really a fashion that shocked me. I asked him about coaches in the NFL. And here's a guy who played for Don Shula, Weed Eubank, etc., on his way to the Hall of Fame with the Baltimore Colts. He said, there ain't no geniuses coaching in the NFL, Kelso. And I said, okay. I said, well, what about Shula? He said, nothing special about Shula. He said, I changed 9 out of 10 plays that he sent in from the sidelines, and even one time went so far as to ask him, Coach, are you coaching the same game that I'm playing? He said, that's how far afield that he could be. Now, that may be a little harsh, and that's John Unitas, it's not me. And but he did make me think about the value of coaches in the NFL. You know, in the NFL, you have one basic problem. No matter who you are as a coach, the players at every single position know more about it than you do. That makes it a little hard to deal with these guys sometimes, but I mean, good coaches figure out how to get along with everybody, put them together as a team, and make them play. That is, except the genius who coaches the Washington Redskins, and the even smarter guy, Brad Childress, who coaches the Minnesota Vikings. These guys are simply so far afield in what they're doing that it's all about them. It's not about their teams. You know, let's start with Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan made a complete enemy out of me early in the season for what he did to Albert Haynesworth. Okay, so Haynesworth is a little hard to handle, can be a little bit surly, but you know, the Redskins thought enough of him to give him $90 million. And he was and can be one of the best defensive linemen in the league. But because he didn't follow the conditioning programs that Shanahan wanted and so forth, Shanahan made it a point to belittle, to degrade, to browbeat, and to embarrass Haynesworth in front of everybody. And finally, he elevated him from the second and third teams to a starting place in the defensive line, and he is by far the best lineman the Washington Redskins have. Now, this last week, future Hall of Fame quarterback Donovan McNabb was pulled with 1 minute and 50 seconds to play with the Redskins down 6 points at Detroit, and replaced by Rex Grossman, who's famous for one thing, making mistakes and getting teams beat. Shanahan said he put him in because he was better equipped to run the 2-minute offense than was McNabb. And I said, what? And nobody believes him. His other coaches don't believe him, players don't believe him, nobody on the Redskins believe him. The first thing Grossman did was fumble a football in the first play. It was returned for a touchdown, and the game was out of reach. Obviously, he didn't have to go through the 2-minute drill because it was over in about 10 seconds. Anyway, Shanahan is a vindictive guy. He's a little man. He's a dictator and has no respect for his players, period. He has nothing but contempt for them. And I can tell you one thing. His attitude has now been made public. The bigger the star, the harder he works to degrade them and to make them feel less than they are. You can take it to the bank from me right now. The Washington Redskins are heading for the outhouse in the NFL this season. His move cost him any respect that he had from his team, and I can promise you right now they'll think twice about really going the limit for him. Take it to the bank. Now we have Brad Childress at the Minnesota Vikings. Brad Childress threw the outstanding future Hall of Fame wide receiver Randy Moss under the bus this week because Randy Moss said a few things that he didn't like. Like he's the first guy to ever said a few things the coach didn't like. Anyway, he's gone. He's no longer there. It's obvious in the locker room at Minnesota that Childress is absolutely so jealous of Brett Favre that his relationship with him borders on hate. So now you've got a coach that's so ego-driven that he throws his best wide receiver under the bus. He hates his starting quarterback, and the team knows it. There's a reason this team is not winning this season. His name is Brad Childers. Don't forget it. So the Washington Redskins and the Minnesota Vikings, very suspect for the rest of the season because they're both coached by fools. Now a couple of handicapping hints for the weekend. You know, I'm thinking very hard about taking the winless 0-7 Buffalo Bills plus the points against the Chicago Bears in Toronto on Sunday. You know, in the last two games, a new Buffalo Bills team has jumped up, and they've lost by 3 points at Baltimore in overtime, 3 points against Kansas City. They're a dog today, and I'm just really tempted to take Buffalo to get its first win of the season. You got to be very nervous about the Cleveland Browns this week. Rookie Colt McCoy gets the start against the New England Patriots. The only thing I can't figure out about this game is why New England, which is at Cleveland, is just a 4.5-point favorite. Dallas, 1-6 on the season, 1-6 against the number, 0-4 straight up and against the number in their last 4 games. They're at Green Bay Sunday. Look for them to be 1-7 and 1-7 after they leave that. The New York Jets are the strongest team on the bounce back cycle this week. They got beat 9-0 last week at home by the Green Bay Packers, and this week at Detroit they're a favorite, and in strong bounce back form. I might consider taking the Jets to get the job done there. Once again, nothing definite, but that's how I'm leaning with some of my games this week. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back to see you on Friday.